Nasri looks for Xavi!
Gabriel Martinelli jusqu'au bout. Oh, il a fait l'exploit de Gabriel Martinelli. Le coast to coast façon NBA pour relancer les Gunners.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Kenyan Gunners podcast with me, Omar Bashir, and Ahmad Banafa Ahmad. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Omar. How are you doing today? And
I'm
since the
doing fine.
weekend?
I'm doing great. Continuing to watch Tournament of Champions. Last week's episode was absolutely fantastic. We had the semis and the finals. So for those who are following, I won't spoil it for them, but it was very good.
It's good to hear. At least something's cheering you up in this period.
Yes, at least we have that. But, you know, life needs ups and downs, and Arsenal is providing a lot of the downs for now.
Yeah.
With the sort of performances that we're seeing from the team, and it's not very good.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. I don't know what else. Like we've been talking about losses and draws for a long time now, and we were hoping for some changes to the way we play, but it's safe to say that things are not looking good for us right now.
Well, since you've mentioned that point, we might just get into it. A lot of people thought that when we if we changed the position of certain players, maybe we could get a better offing. If people are saying that if Aubameyang gets the chances that Lacazette gets, he might put a few away, but it's just not happening for the team at all. And I think this problem that we're seeing is much bigger than shifting players around. There's a lot of bad things going on, and it also speaks to the fact that it's not normal that you have all of your forward players out of form. It doesn't make any sense. It's not tallying in terms of sense, because you cannot have Aubameyang, Pepe, Lacazette, Willian, all of them are not on form. It doesn't make any sense. So it probably speaks to something else that we just aren't seeing in terms of what is affecting their play.
I don't think it's a question of form with the forward players, because, I mean, I think it's something deeper with all the players. It's not just the forward players, and also the way we line up. And I think maybe if we just get into it, you see, the thing is, we've become way too passive right now, and the way we line up, sure, we've switched formations right now. We're playing with the four at the back to have that extra midfielder. But if you look at the general positions of the Arsenal team, there's stat maps. I don't know if you've seen them. The general positions of the team, the average positions, 9 of the 10 outfield players are behind. They're in their own half, and that's how we've been playing. And I think that's the main issue right now, because if you're saying it's the forward players that are lacking form or something like that, I don't think that's the case, because the forward players are not actually getting the ball in the positions they would like the ball to be, because and also that progression from the back line into the forward line. I mean, we can't keep depending on counter attacks all the time, because I think that's how I feel like that's how we are playing right now. You just see maybe Gabriel or Luis or Holding just hoof the ball forward and hope for the best, because there is no line in the middle, I mean, through the middle. you'd see the whole time we just bypass the whole midfield and we just go out wide to a winger in Willian or Saka or Oba, and it's hurting us because if, say, such a player does not control the ball, it immediately falls back to Wolves player, and or once they do get the ball and they do control it, then there is no support because the rest of the team is at the back. So there's such a huge disconnect from the back line and the forward line that I think you can't bring form into it. I think it's just the way we set up, the way we are too passive, the way we are too rigid. I think it's something a lot deeper than just form. It's not to do with form, in my opinion, because these players, they can score and they will score.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, as I said, it doesn't make any sense that all of those players are out of form. I think it speaks to more about structural issues about the team and how we set up and how we apply ourselves on the pitch. And I think the biggest issue that we have is the midfield, because the midfield is such a determining factor in terms of how the game is structured and how your play is structured, because it will determine your defensive positioning, it will determine your offensive positioning. And I feel that our midfield area is very, very translucent.
Lacking.
It's lacking completely in dynamism, in running power, in creativity, in anything that you want from midfield. I mean, if we said, all right, fine, we want to play aggressive football, we need to have people who have the legs, people who are dynamic in their runs. We don't have that. If you say, all right, we want to have a creative sort of game where we have crisp passing, we don't have that. So, I mean, we just have players who are there who are slow, who take their time on the ball, slow down the game, and make it very, very easy for the opposition to defend and attack them. I think right now, I think we're probably one of the most easiest team to play against.
Yeah.
Right now
There's
in the
no
league.
fear whatsoever. I think right now you'd say maybe Arsenal are in quote unquote, the small team because of the way we play. There's no aggression, there's no defensive actions throughout the game. Let me just throw some numbers by you. Let me just open it up. I think, where is it? Just give me some time. This should have been on my screen.
No problem. I mean, it just goes to...
Here we are.
Okay.
Passes allowed per defensive action. We are third worst in passes allowed per defensive actions. This basically means how many passes we allow before we actually commit to maybe a tackle or something like that. And right now we are at we allow 16 passes before a defensive action, and we are third worst in the whole Premier League table. The only teams worse than us, West Ham and Newcastle. Even Sheffield United, who have not won a single game, are better than us in that. And this just goes to say how low intensity our pressing is and how bad overall we have been.
Yeah, I mean, it's as I said, the midfield is the catalyst for whatever that we do. So we talk about the pressing. We start to press. Our forward players will press fairly okay. I mean, they don't do very well, but I mean, it's decent enough. And once, if a team is good enough to bypass the press, the midfield is basically non-existent. And they just run through it. And once you bypass the offensive press, you're basically one-on-one with the defenders who, for some reason, do not want to tackle and will back off until I have no idea where. And it's just so annoying. This backing off and the backing off, you have to take a challenge. You can only back up until a certain situation. I mean, the Wolves players were doing very well, the defenders. when with the defender, our defenders and our midfielders had the ball, they didn't engage. But once the ball came into one of our forward players, they were aggressive, they were pressing, and they were engaging in the tackle, not giving them any space and time to do so. And I feel that's something we can do as well. If you give, especially with the pace of our players, we don't have the quickest defenders. So if you're not tight, but not touch tight, but tight enough and close enough, you back yourself in a challenge to win the ball, off the ball, or get the ball off your opponent, then you'll have less situations to defend, and you'll have more balls won, and that brings more possession for your team. But for some reason, we just want to sit back and defend, and we've never been that kind of team, not in the last 30 years at least. And
yeah, and even when we do press, it just goes back to what I'm saying. It's so disjointed, because you would see Oba maybe pressing, or Lacazette when he plays, you would see him pressing. Fine, that's great, but they're not pressing together. If you do press, it should be as a whole team, and this is what I mean. If you look at the game against Leeds, even before Pepe came off, Leeds had so much time on the ball. The pressing that our players would do was so disjointed that they would just have easy passing channels into midfield, to the wide areas, back to midfield. Like, these guys had so much time on the ball. It was amazing that Arsenal were even on the pitch. Like, I couldn't understand it. I feel the same way with Wolves. Like, you can't just ask Oba to press by himself and then Willian follows 10 seconds later, which is an eternity in football. And maybe Saka follows up again later, and then Ceballos finally comes in up the pitch. By that time, the ball has already gone to Neto, to Traore, and that's how we play. I mean, it's just upsetting to see how we have been playing. Like you say, it's not how we've been playing over the last 30 years, and it's a wonder what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I think that's why there've been a lot of questions about what exactly are we trying to achieve with this team. I think before, with Mikel Arteta, that is, there was a clarity of the system that we were playing, and people were able to identify with it. And if in a certain game it didn't work, they said, all right, fine, we normally try to play this way. So today this didn't work, and maybe we can improve on that. But right now, if you ask anybody, like, what exactly is Mikel Arteta trying to achieve with this team, you're not quite sure, because they press sometimes, they fall, they do a low block sometimes they have possession of the ball. So it's a bit disjointed now, and I think he needs to have just a moment to take back and take stock of what he has, because I think someone raised a very good point. He obviously has a style of play that he wants to play, and that's fair and well and good. But he has to look at the resources that he has at the team right now, and we need to maximize the resources that we have in terms of the team there. And we currently are not doing that. We are not using our resources very well. I mean, we decided, okay, fine, teams are not going to press us as much. So we brought in Saliba, we brought in Gabriel, players who are quicker and faster, that would enable us to defend higher, 10, 15 yards higher from where we used to defend. And that would give our midfielders, who are lacking in dynamism, at least a very short distant gap in terms of recovery. But we brought in Saliba, and he's, for some certain reason, unavailable or not up to the standard. You invest in Aubameyang, and there's no system in order to get the best out of him. You invest in Willian a 3-year contract, which right now looks like a terrible deal, because it would. I mean, we were all everybody had reservations about the Willian deal, but we were saying, okay, fine. If he comes in and does a job, you know, at the instant, then it would somehow go into justifying that deal. But he has come and he's been, been shocking. So you're wondering,
Way
is
below
he?
par.
Yeah, why did we get him? Because if he was coming into the team, he's coming to the team to make a difference. He hasn't made any difference. So, and up to this moment in time, it's been a very bad deal. So everything that the club is doing, or most of the things that the club is doing, is not making sense. They bought Gabriel. That's a good signing. Tierney is a good signing. Partey is a good signing. But they need to be more of those kinds of signings and much less of the Williams and the Cedrics, because those don't make any sense at all. And
on this, I still feel like I do feel like you're very right, because the players that we have been, I don't know, I still feel like the first team needs another clear out yet again. There are not many players that I would keep right now. The likes of Shaka, the likes of Lacazette, the likes of Willian. These are not players I want to see in our team. Ceballos as well, I think he was useful for a time, but I don't think he has what it takes to keep performing consistently in the Premier League. Overall, some of the signings we have made recently, the likes of Gabriel, the likes of Saliba, Tierney, Partey, these are good signings, and yes, we would like to see more of them, more of these good signings, but as well, their integration into the team has been, I don't know, it's aside from Gabriel and Tierney, I mean, it's been somewhat shaky. Okay, fine, fair enough. Partey has had an injury. He would have been utilized. And Saliba, I mean, this is a player we brought in who is world class. Has the potential to be world class, and somehow or the other, he's not made the Premier League squad. He can't be used. And if you look at our options in that area of the pitch, we have Luiz, who has he has experience, but I think he's well past it right now. He doesn't have the pace to cope with the Premier League anymore. I don't think. We have Mustafi, who I don't want to speak about.
Thank you.
Holding can hold his own, but pardon the wordplay. But as well, like, we brought in a player for a reason, and we're not using him. I don't know why. The integration of these players has not been good. And then as well, you spoke about how we brought these players to push us up further on the pitch. Instead, I feel like we've gone even deeper. At some points over these last few Premier League games at home, we've had almost, I think, 8 players in the 18-yard box. This, like, how do you expect to move? How do you expect, even if you do clear the ball, where do you want it to go? Because then the opponent will just get it back and cycle it back to our goal,
Yeah.
It's I don't know how to describe. You asked this question, where's our system? We do still have a system. The thing is, the approach in the system has been very strange, because we've lost the aggression we used to have even under Arteta. We've lost the I don't know, the positional awareness, I would say. The positional rotation that used to be there, nothing is there now anymore. I'm just seeing us put bodies in the 18-yard box and hope for the best. Even in defense, I mean, if you want to park the bus, you can only do that for so long, because if you get an opponent with midfield runners who come at you in the 18-yard box, then they will obviously still be unmarked, and this creates chaos in that area. And this is what we are seeing. There's a lot of chaotic defending in our 18-yard box right now, because while we do have bodies back there, it's still very passive. The players are still ball watching, and I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore because we've been seeing this time and time again, and Arteta himself says it in the post-match conferences, in the pre-match conferences, but there's still no resolution. And so, in conclusion, I really feel like we do have we still do have the structure. We just need to better our approach in our games, and I feel like that's what will be the difference maker. And like I used to have this optimism. If anyone knows me, comes to Arsenal, I'm one of the most optimistic guys there are. But right now, slowly but surely, it's just been winding down, and I'm just hoping for the better, man, because it hurts seeing our team like this.
Well, I think you mentioned a good point that and it doesn't the structure. I mean, if we were playing this the same way, but we were getting results, we were scoring goals, I don't think a lot of people would have an issue with that. The thing is that whatever it is that they're trying to do is not working at all.
Mm,
I think that's where the problem starts. If you produce results with whatever system that you're trying to implement, then it is justifiable, it is defendable. But right now, you cannot defend whatever it is that they're trying to do, and I think that is the biggest problem that we have in this team.
yep, completely.
Yeah. And we've talked all this time, we've not
Um,
even talked about the game.
yeah, you see, the thing is, when you win and when it's good, you want to talk about the game. You know, right now it's we just have problems, and the problems keep repeating themselves, and they're just piling up. So all we can talk about right now is the problems because they're the same problems we've been having for a
Mm.
while now. So I feel like the game does not take center stage for us right now because it's not good. There's nothing more to analyze. There's nothing good to analyze. It's just mistakes that we get to end up talking about because that's how we've been playing. Like it's just full of mistakes, full of emptiness, and yeah. If the game had been good, if there were any positives to take from the match, we would have been talking about them. It's just not as fun right now to talk about them because there's nothing really to talk about.
Yeah, three defeats at home, I think, consecutive.
Mm,
I can't remember the
yeah.
last time that happened. And we've lost all those games, by the way, at a
Mm.
10:15 kickoff on Sunday. So take from that what you will.
Yeah, you must be hating these kickoffs right now. I mean, where are we getting the latest kickoff?
You know that
Like it's
I actually it makes sense because I mean we play in the Europa League, so the more time we get to
yeah,
prepare,
but
the better.
why are we
But
playing the last one?
oh,
Like
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd rather pay this time than pay like at 2:30 or 4. You know. So,
I
but
don't know.
it's not helping us. It's not helping us. It doesn't seem to help us at all.
Must
Right?
be affecting us mentally somehow or the other.
Players are just crap. Players are crap.
That they are.
Anyway, I think we can stop
Yeah,
there
and
for part one. Unless
yeah,
there's something
yeah.
else you want to add.
Not really. If just from the game, there was a weird, let me say, a dangerous moment with the head collision where I feel like
Hmm.
Luis should have come out. If we were to talk about the game, maybe that's what we should talk about. I do feel like Luis should have come out because he looked sloppy after that collision. I mean, he was out for 10 minutes. He was unconscious at some point. He was bleeding after that and still playing. You know, with head injuries, it's not, we can't really judge the condition of the player during, but for sure it does not help playing the way he was playing with the bandage, with bleeding after concussion like that. You know, I don't know if you heard it. Did you hear the crack when their heads
Yeah, it was a very
Yeah, it was
not
very
pleasant.
rough. Yeah, exactly. So I do feel like Luis should have come off earlier because you can see the defending. I mean, he was kind of sluggish. He wasn't the same. I mean, after that. So I'm wondering what the uh, thinking was behind leaving him on for that period of time.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically looking at looking at the substitutions. I mean, we only have three substitutions now, so Mikel will be looking at that situation like we have no we have minimum number of substitutions. So would you want to risk that out? And he had already been given a clear by the medical team. So I mean, maybe that could have affected his decision. But as you said, I think it was clear that he was not at it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I can talk about from the game because the rest of it was not not worthy from our point of view.
All right, then. We will leave it there for part one, and we'll be back with the questions at part two right after this. Welcome back to part two of the Kenya Goodness podcast. You can follow us on our various social media sites on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Kenya Goodness Pod. It's questions time. We'll take questions from Twitter. I think I will start.
Mhm.
Um,
Let's have it.
Okay, we'll go with Abdul Hafid Adan at Abdul Hafid A. He says Arteta bowed to the pressure from the fans by playing Alba in his favorite position. Had Arsenal has Arsenal been too dependent on inform Aubameyang, and at this point, would Ozil's re-entry into the team make any difference?
Interesting questions at Abdul Hafid A. Um, Arteta bowed to pressure from fans. I don't think Arteta would be one to bow from fans. I think he himself realized that with Lacazette on, we weren't really doing much, and he had seen that there was something with playing Oba in the middle because he tried it. I think when did he switch it? What game was it when he did the switch
I think it was the
this
Sheffield
season?
game.
Yeah. So and we saw something resembling something exciting, you know. So I think he felt that a change was needed, and Oba playing centrally after putting him in that position showed promise. And yeah, I don't think he really bowed to pressure from fans. I just think that he himself realizes that we need better, so he put our best player there. Being dependent on him being in form, uh, again, this is I think it goes way deeper than form of the player because I mean, if you've been watching our games, the guy has not been getting any service at all. So how do you expect him to score goals? And even once he does get the ball in those positions, it's usually a bit out wide or in a difficult angle, or it's already blocked because the ball getting there was too slow.
Mm.
So there's a lot of factors. So maybe we were dependent on him scoring goals, but now there's a lot of things, other things going on aside from him being. I wouldn't say he's out of form. It's just the whole team itself is not creating chances for him. So um, yeah, maybe some change, like we've been talking about, would go on to fixing that. At this point, I don't know. And would Ozil's re-entry into the team make any difference? I feel like any creative force in that midfield would make a huge difference, because I think we talked about this in the last podcast. The form of Manchester United before and after signing Bruno, there's a clear difference with that creative presence being on the pitch for them. Bruno being in there makes United that different of a team, and before him they were just as bad, I don't know, as we are maybe right now. So any creator, any creative force, especially one with Ozil's quality, would make a huge difference. That situation is I don't know, I would say weird. I don't know. I don't have the words really for Ozil's situation, because it is what it is. And yeah, any creator, not just Ozil, even the ones we've been looking at signing. Yeah,
I think there'll be a clamor of. I think once we get to January, it'll be very interesting. I think unless things change drastically, which I personally don't see happening, I think there'll be a definite clamor for Ozil to be included in the team in the second squad, which is normally recorded. You record, not record. So what I'm looking for, you register another squad list in January. So I mean, there will be calls for him possibly to get in there. Whether he will get in there is it is unlikely, but it's there'll be more noise about it than probably people thought maybe 3-4 weeks ago. So I think
and if you remember, Omar, at the beginning of the season, during the transfer window, when we talked about who we should sign before we had signed Partey, I think we both wanted a creator, because we felt that we needed a creator more than we needed a defensive midfielder of Partey's disposition. And I feel like right now the problems showing themselves as what we saw, because it is what we expected, sort of. Maybe we didn't expect it to be this bad, but yeah, I think we all knew that we needed a creator more than anything, and we didn't get him. We got Partey instead, and yeah, we are seeing the results of that.
So I think now the question now will come to Arteta now. Does he go out and possibly overpay for a creative midfielder? Because I don't think you're going to get them at the price that you want. Or do you say, okay, Ozil, you've got 6 months left here, play for us? I mean, it's a very interesting times, especially with that sort of situation, on how Arteta is going to deal with it. Will that decision, because I think right now, I think we can say that the decision to leave out Ozil is hurting the team. Because if you'd have had him as an option, he would have definitely been much, much better than the options that we're using at the moment. So will we continue with those Arteta standards and non-negotiables, as they say? Because as we've seen, he's been very inconsistent with his non-negotiables with certain players. Certain players, if look what happened with Willian with the issue with the Dubai thing. If Pepe had done that, imagine, the backlash of that. And I think also, I think Pepe was unfairly, I think as a manager, you can go off on your player in behind closed doors and everything, but to do it in the public eye, I think, I don't know, maybe he expects more from him, but I feel like his non-negotiables are double standards for me. It doesn't apply across board. And I feel he also needs to look a bit on that. And of course, speaking of dynamism, a dynamic player who would have helped this team is Matteo Guendouzi. And, he's off somewhere in Germany. He would have really helped us in this situation. a partnership of him and Partey looks, exciting right now.
Looks promising.
Yeah, it looks promising. So you've got to wonder and think. As I said, it goes back to what I was saying before. Are we using our resources properly? And I don't think we are.
We definitely aren't. It doesn't feel like we are.
Any question?
Yeah, I have one from Priyo Boy at Wairegi _ on Twitter. What do you guys expect in the North London Derby on Sunday? What do you expect, Omar? This is your
Well,
most.
I,
Mhm.
I everybody knows I have no love for Tottenham, not in the slightest.
Mhm.
They're looking good at the moment, and we're looking very bad.
Unfortunately. Mm.
And we're looking very bad. So I am expecting a defeat, but it's not. I don't know. I don't know what Mourinho's gonna do. Is he gonna go?
So basically, nothing out of the ordinary because we have a new ordinary right now.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know how Mourinho's gonna attack this one. Is he gonna give Arsenal the
Mm.
ball, or is he gonna dominate
Mm.
because he can do both? But I
Mm.
don't see us winning the game. So I probably will not watch the game. I can't watch Tottenham games. I only watch Tottenham
Mm.
games when they face Arsenal.
But now
And
with the
right
situation
now,
that we are
I
in,
also don't want to watch Arsenal, so I'd
mm,
rather watch something else. So I'll probably
yeah.
follow it on live score. Maybe if you go 2-0 up, probably
If
have
we
a sneak.
do, if we do manage to get something out of that game, it, I don't know. We've seen it before with Manu, but this might be bigger than that because of the rivalry between the clubs. Um, Maybe we'll see a turning point from the club. I don't know, but that's asking a lot right now because of the
Yeah,
way
I
we've been
mean,
playing.
even if you look at the players who are unavailable, you've got Pepe
Mm, mm,
unavailable, you've got Partey unavailable. Those are the sort of
mm,
players, like if I was to change the team, those are the kind
yeah,
of players that I would have, and they're not
yeah.
available. So, I mean, if you want to change, I'm sorry, you're going to see Shaka and Ceballos versus Tottenham. It's going to be the
And
same
El Neni
people.
as well.
Yeah, probably we'll see El Neni there.
A three-man midfield.
Yeah, so it's not going to be, it's not going to be good watching for Arsenal fans, I
Mm,
think. So
yeah.
well, I'm not going to be watching it, so it's not going to be non-existent for me. It's going to be something
I
that's just,
mean,
it's going to be like a
I'll
statistic.
try.
Like Arsenal lost.
I'll try
Oh,
and watch.
yeah, you be
I'll try
brave
and
for
watch.
us. Be brave for us. I'm
At
not
least the
gonna.
first half, seeing what we are all, what we are made of in that game. If it's good goings, maybe I might finish it. I don't know. You can
We'll
only
see.
hope.
Well,
As I said, I'm usually the more optimistic one.
yes, I'm more of a
But
realist.
even now, I'm feeling like that optimism is dying. So
Yeah, so you
I
can
don't know.
imagine how I'm feeling.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, any other question from?
Ah, okay. Ooh, I like this question.
Mhm.
It's from Ahmed underscore 99 Muha at A47 Dean. I'm thinking that's supposed to spell a name. I'm sorry, Ahmed. He says, is Oba a captain?
Y- Um, people have different views of captains. I In a way, he might not be the most vocal one on the pitch. Maybe we need something like that. But yeah, he is captain material because he is nurturing to the younger players. He is a leader on the pitch. He does by example. He does things a captain does. It's just maybe he's not uh, in the more traditional view of the word captain. He's not maybe a vocal leader on the pitch. He's not that loud. He's not uh, you know what I mean, right? When we
Mm.
talk of captains, you want to see like people who are there for their teammates all the time. I think he's more of one who does by example more than anything else. He's not really the old school kind of captain, but he is a
Okay,
captain in my opinion.
but in my opinion,
Mm.
um, his body language hasn't been that good of late, and I think
I
that's
mean,
why.
would yours be if you haven't been if you've been on a
Yeah,
drought
but
for
I
this long?
understand. I
Would you?
understand. But you're the captain, right?
Mm,
You're supposed to sort of push that aside because the
mm.
team looks at you for inspiration and leadership.
I
So yeah,
mean,
you're in a bit of a
you.
in a bit of a bad form. Obviously, you're not getting what kind of
Mm,
bad form. There's no service basically for what you're trying to do. And
mm,
as a captain, you're supposed to uplift the team, bring up the moves by however means it is.
mm,
If it's going to be shouting at them, if it's going to be giving them a word of,
mm,
if it's by your example, if
mm,
your application on the pitch, however service he may or may not be getting, his application on the pitch, I think,
mm,
has been dwindling. He looks fed up. He looks, I don't know. His body
mm,
language it hasn't been good to me, and that's his leadership style is through action, as we say, and his actions and his body language has not been good.
mm.
So I feel, and at this moment, it's where you really, really need your captain, because we're really in the dumps at the moment. So
Yeah.
that's why I felt that question sort of very interesting.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, maybe we do need a player like that, a more vocal player. But on that team, on the pitch, who do you feel is that way? Aside from Shaka, of course, because we want to see Shaka going. So who else is that vocal player? I don't think any one of them is.
Hmm.
Tierney might be more vocal, might be a more uh, the kind of captain, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if he does have the quality to lead the whole team.
I'd give it to Bellerin.
As I say,
I mean, Bellerin is a very good ambassador
mm,
for the club. He's been there
yeah,
for.
but again, is he that vocal player that you want him to be to push the team to
I'm
do
I'm
what you
not
want him
I'm
to
not
do?
I'm not hung up on the shouting Tony Adams kind of captain. I just want
Yeah.
somebody to lead. I mean, I want somebody every game week he gives his all. Somebody who's
Mm,
gonna be there, give a 10 out of 10, sort of like a Nacho Monreal sort of performance. He's out there
yeah, yeah.
7 out of 10 every game, gives out his
Dependable
all.
players. Mm,
Somebody dependable, somebody you can rely on,
mm,
somebody who has a connection with the fans,
mm,
and I'm sure we can do something about that. I mean,
mm.
I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess, and I think as well, other players need to stand up and be counted in this particular. I mean, they shouldn't hide behind
Yeah,
the
of
whole issue of the
course.
squad.
Mm.
They need to
We are
stand
a
up and
team
say
after all. Mm,
we need to we need to do better. We need to
mm.
perform and apply ourselves in a better situation. And I feel that in itself is lacking in the team,
Yeah,
besides the fact of the issues of the captains.
yeah. Um, Next question, I have one from Huwailed Rudaini at Huwailed. He has several questions. He's asking, are we officially a small team? Should Arteta get sacked? And is Ceballos relevant? Well,
Are we a small
um,
team? Well, our metrics show
we
that we
we are
are.
not,
Well, okay,
right?
we're no,
Okay,
no,
the,
no.
the way we are playing,
We are a big club. We are a big club,
yeah,
but we're a small team.
playing like a small team.
Our
Mm,
metrics over the last 18 months show that we are a mid-table side. So
mm,
it doesn't make any sense that we say that we're a big team. I think our team is quite poor in terms of its
yeah.
general quality and application. I think we are very, very
Mm,
far off. Small team, yeah, we're mid-table. We're mid-table. I mean, just look where we are. Look at our metrics. Just look at
mm,
our shot conversion rate, our chances created in a game, our defensive
mm.
actions, our sprints, our
Yeah,
all
everything
these
is
sort of things.
bad.
We're sort of like mid-table there, if not bottom half, if not
Mm,
yeah, bottom half mid-table, and that's basically where we are. We're 14th, so yeah, our whatever we're producing on the pitch is showing on the table, the Premier League table.
yeah.
So I would say we're a mid-table team. Yeah. Should Arteta be sacked? No, I don't think that the time for that is there. I don't think he has the players that he needs to do. What I would say about Arteta, though, he needs to reuse the resources that he has much better. I don't think he's utilizing the qualities of players that he has in the team. I
Yeah.
think Pepe has not been used properly. Aubameyang has not been used properly. Saka has been used too much. Saliba is not being
We're
used.
expecting too much from Saka.
Yeah, they're putting too much on him, and I don't think that's healthy at all. I don't like the way Saliba's situation is being handled at all. I think that's been very, very, very poorly done. And all those people who are involved in that should really be ashamed of themselves, including the manager. I think it's been really, really poorly handled, the Saliba situation. Ozil, the less said about that, the better. I think resource-wise, I think we need to do much, much better with the players that we have. I'm not saying that if we use our players better, we're going to get into top four automatically, but I think we'll see a much, much better application than what we're seeing right now, because right now it's just not good enough.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah. What was
And
the other
the
question?
last question, is Ceballos relevant?
I don't know what's wrong with Ceballos. I don't
He
know.
blows hot and cold, doesn't
I think
he?
he's suffering from. I think he suffers from the team in how we are playing at the moment and the roles that he's being asked to play. I mean, last on Sunday he was playing sort of like an auxiliary right back, and we've seen that he's played that position before. I think it was the Leicester game. We've seen El Neni playing that position as well. So it's not something that he's doing by himself. It's something that's in the system, and it's not really helping
I mean,
him at all.
Even his sort of play, I do feel it just, there are moments where he'll pick out a wonderful pass, but then other moments as well he just misplace a pass, give it to the opponent. You know, he just blows hot and cold. Sometimes during the same match, sometimes he'll have a good period of form where he'll do very well, and other times I feel like with Ceballos, it's not really about what the manager is asking him to do. I feel like he can do the job the manager is asking him to do. He's just not doing it well sometimes, because he has the capacity to perform very well. He just, I don't know, he's very inconsistent for my liking. Um, he can do a lot more. I've seen him do a lot more. He's just not doing it right now. Maybe it's to do with the rest of the team. I don't know. Maybe it's the whole team that's not performing well right now, which speaks to a bigger issue. But yeah, I don't think he is relevant to our future setup. But right now, we can use him. And if he does perform, he performs very well. It's just that we need him to perform better more often than he has been. So there's that.
Yeah, I think a lot of players you could describe sort of the same way, and I think, as I said, very, 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 very many issues in the team.
Yeah. Do you have another question, or is that it?
I'll just ask one more on a lighter note. Abdurrahman at A_Hussein15. He says, "Is this karma for what the club is doing to Ozil?"
Yes, definitely, 100%. Why are they not playing Ozil? Why did they leave him out in the cold? I mean, this is definitely karma for not playing Ozil.
I mean, karma. This is karma personified, because the team is lacking in creativity, and I would
Yes.
say the most creative player. I don't care what people say about De Bruyne and whoever. Mesut Ozil
Yeah,
is
he
the
is the
most
best
creative
creative.
player in the
Yeah.
Premier League. He's not in the team for whatever reason, and our team is struggling in creativity. That
It's
is
just sad to
that is
see.
karma
I mean,
personified, and it's quite sad.
I think that's it. There is one more question about, I think we've answered it really, from Maliki at Maliki_22 about Arteta, if Arteta is in or out. I think we've answered that.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you yawning,
Arteta,
bro?
yeah, I'm very tired. A long day at work. But basically, it's Arteta in, but he needs to use the resources much better than he is now.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And I think that's all. We've had some poor results so far. I think we can do. There's a very, I don't know. There's a lot of room for improvement if we just uh, apply ourselves better.
I mean,
But
who thought I'd say this? But thank God for Europa League.
that's the only solace we have, right? The only place we're scoring goals, the only place we're seeing Arsenal play like Arsenal.
Yeah, I think we should transfer to one of these leagues that these teams are playing in. Just go play in Ireland, and maybe we'd win the league then.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that's it for today, Omar, unless you have anything else.
No, I don't have anything to say. I think that's done. Basically, thank you everybody for tuning in. We thank everybody, our listeners, for sending in their questions. Thank you, Ahmad, for joining us this week today, and thank you to everybody.
Yeah,
We
of
will
course.
see you next week, of course. Cheers. Kwaheri.
Wait. So,
What?
are we seeing you because you said you're not watching the game? So what's happening? What are you gonna talk about?
I have my ways.
Yeah. All right then. Bye bye, guys.